Hi YouTubers, and this is another servicing video from Sort6233. As you probably recognise, this is a 9F, it's a Minitrix, and in fact it should be the Evening Star 92220, and I've had this for quite a while. In fact, this is job number 01, and a bit of trouble with it, cameras and all sorts of bits, and I needed a motor which wasn't easy to get. This is the middle of lockdown, so I thought this would be a good opportunity to pick it up and see if I can get this Evening Star up and running. I've managed to acquire another motor which runs, so I've just got my probes here, and I should be able to apply a wee bit of power. I'll just turn it down, it's about 4 volts there. So let's see what happens. Apply 4 volts, and you can see it runs quite happily in both directions. So let me just put the body shell out the way, which looks pretty good. Got the characteristic red buffer bar, the tender, 6-wheel tender with the trailing wire, and the chassis. The motor fits into this bracket here, and the worm screw fits underneath this bracket and engages onto a set of gears. So I'm trying to fit this in. This green wire goes to one of these 2 tabs here, so it should be at the top, and I think it slides in like so and fixed at the back. While I'm doing this, let me just explain. It's a beautiful evening, gone 6 PM in the afternoon. I've got the shed door open, sunshine is pouring in. I've been just thinking about the garden and sitting in the sun for about an hour doing Sudoku puzzles, and then messing about with some hanging baskets that I'm hoping to have outside my front door. So that's my life during lockdown. So not too tight to begin with. Make sure they're both seated correctly. Seems okay there and there and there. And I can just give a little half twist there and there. Now, if this is correct, I should be able to get the mechanism to operate by applying the voltage across the terminals. I'm trying to get them on camera. They are here, one there and one there, and it needs just a bit more. I can feel it trying to work, but there's a lot more torque. So I'm putting the voltage up to 6 and try again, and you can see it's trying to go, and just a wee bit more, and hopefully this should work. And there we go, the 9F working pretty well. Turning the probes round, hopefully make it go forward. Sorry, from there to the contacts, and there we go. And it's taken a while to get this little 9F to this particular state. It occurred to me that what I think I'll try and do is I'll look back at my previous videos and see if I can find some early footage of work on this little Minitrix, and hopefully show you how much progress I'd made since job number 01 came in a number of years ago. Hi, welcome back YouTubers. This is another video. I've got in here, it's an evening star, believe it or not, 92220-9F. In fact, this represents the last steam locomotive built in Swindon, I think it was. That's of course before the tornado in 2013 or thereabouts. Anyway, when I got this, I found, it was bought as a spares or repair, but the mechanism was in pieces. And when I dismantled it, found that some of these little red wheels were missing. Well, as it happens, on eBay, I saw this one, spares or repair, no motor in it, it said, no front bogie either, but it came like this. Obviously the drive gear in poor condition, but here, look at this, complete mechanism. So I'm hoping that I can simply replace the mechanism and build one of these chassis into a working Evening Star. Minitrix Evening Star, I should have pointed out. So this is what I'm going to try and do this afternoon. As I'm comparing these two chassis, first thing I wanted to find out was where the drive took place. This is the one I want to get running. Here's the motor, there's the worm screw, and it attaches to an idler just in here. If I tilt it to the camera, you might just be able to see it, and that then connects to the series of drive gears that operate the drive wheels. Here, obviously the motor is missing, however the drive wheel is there, and it does in fact connect. This runs pretty smoothly, notwithstanding the damaged drive gear. So I'm kind of considering that I might take the motor out of here and install it in here. Then I can worry about getting the drive gear mechanism working. I have here the original drive gear, it's complete, so I think it should be a simple enough matter to remove the base plate, take out the 5 wheels and put these back in. So I think that's where I'm going to go. So my first task is to remove the motor from the older chassis. So looking at the mechanism, I think it might be easier replacing the mechanism than it would try to fix this bit here, because there's a couple of bits missing. Yeah, there's that there, and there should be another arm there, so there's actually pieces missing from this drive mechanism. Yeah, so I need to try and remove these wheels and the cylinder block en masse without losing anything, he says. Right, now I seem to remember this comes off. How? Oh yeah, Right, underneath the bulb I think is a screw. Yes, there it is. And I think that releases the con rod and the cylinder. There we go. So that should fit back on there. If I remove these two screws on the base plate very, very carefully, just checking the screws as I take them out, but they seem to be of the same type, and this should lift off in its entirety. One of the problems I have with my original Evening Star is that this base plate was actually broken, and I thought I had it handy. Don't see it. Right. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is going to have to slide in first. Whoops. I think just a little bit of lubrication while I'm here. Incidentally, I'm using, just come out a little bit, I'm using something called Hob E-Lube Ultra Light Oil, which I bought for that very reason, that it's a very, very light oil, and apparently it's even lighter than the Pico oil which I used to use. Can't say I've noticed any big significant difference anywhere, but it's just something one is advised to do, so okay, give it a go. Right, so now I'm able to sit the drive wheels into their idlers. Now take the base plate, and it fits over the assembly. Screw at the front. Oops. Then into the back. Come back in again. Just hopefully let you see. So, the wheels seem to be in quarter. Now for the upper assembly, making sure the mechanisms lined up properly. Take these drop con rods, got to fit in something, maybe that's that slipped out there. Something jamming in there. Hang on, it's a bit here. Oh, that slipped out. Right. In this lower con rod, a cylinder block, there's a little arm, a piston arm that should be in there and it slipped out. So I'm just going to try and fix that and I'll come back to you when I've done so. And now we test the pudding by having a little eat of it. Tracing the power back from the motor directly. That's the contacts there, running. The pickup plates actually are copper strips that sit on top of these front sets of wheels, not the back ones, the front ones. So I'm going to apply power to these contact strips here, and oops, don't apply too much pressure, bend them. So that's working. So now let's see if this really works. From the wheels, yes, so from the wheels all the way to the motor, back to the mechanism. This looks as if it could be a runner. So let me set up my rolling road and we'll see if we can get it to run freely for a little while. 9F is certainly running nicely on the rolling road. It's about 6 volts at the moment. And it's going very well. Did it reverse there? Yes, it did. So both directions, and even slowing down and turning the opposite way, there it goes. So I think what I'll do is I'll put this onto the test track as it is and see if it runs a couple of laps. Right, I'm going to apply just a little touch of power, and you might not see this, but I've applied power to make it go forward, and as you can see it went into reverse. So obviously the 2 wires that I have, the red and the green, ought to be reversed. I also looked back at the initial video and I think in fact the motor is upside down, so I'm just going to adjust all that and we'll come back to the track in as short a time as I can get. Let's try again. I've rewired the motor, turned it up the right way. I've had to add the weight because I don't think it works otherwise. So let's see. There it goes. Very little voltage. And just let it run round up the side of the layout and round the back. There we go. And here it comes round again. This time, just have a look at this other locomotive and you can see that is in fact the black 9F. 91028 I think the number is. So this is where I'm hoping to partner with this evening star. So that's both of them. I'll just track the one that I'm interested in. Making nice, very smooth. So I've come a long way since I started with that bag of bits. So I'm just going to bring it to a little gentle halt about here. And we'll put it into reverse. Yep, here it comes. And I can't see much wrong with that apart from my track. So let me just try and amend this a wee bit. Don't know what it is about this particular point, but I'll just try and get it over here. And there we go, that's it. So I'm not sure what's happening at this point here, but anyway, picking it up, both line F's travelling virtually together, come around the back, yep, and through the points this time. So I'm quite happy with that. I think I now can proceed with the rest of the build. One thing which did concern me slightly was that the lamp wouldn't work, but that turned out to be just oxidization in the lamp holder. So we just need a good clean, some contact grease on it, and there we go, that's the lamp there. I'll just get that tightened up. So, lamp's working, mechanism's working, motor's going great, and I've got all the drive gear complete. The two tasks that I have to do is install the tender and the front pony. So I'll start off with the tender. The toolbar is in two parts, one part attached to the locomotive and the other part attached to the tender. So I'll just remove the screw which I put in there to save me losing it, and I also have to feed this black wire through the motor housing and keeping it onto the same side. So it goes in here and is drawn forward like so. And now I can hook up the two parts of the toolbar. Oops. And then fit the screw. The toolbar also acts as the negative return from the tender pickups to the motor, and this black wire that you see is the positive feed from the tender pickups. So it's quite tight to work with in here. Oops. Should I do this as an outtake or just keep going? At the moment I'm just going to keep going. Sorry people, there we go, and we get and hope to catch the thread. There we go, I think that's it. Yeah. There's a collar on the toolbar from the locomotive, so I can tighten this pretty reasonably well, and there we go, that's it connected there. And then this has to join the positive feed, which is the same as the green wire. And some locomotives I think is also the feed for the lamp. So I'm just going to put a little twist in this to kind of take up some slack, like so, otherwise it'll be flailing around. And then I'm just going to solder along with the green connection. In fact, I'll put it directly onto the motor. No, I need to put it through the filter coil. My apologies. This has to go to this part of the connection. So, all fingers and thumbs here tonight. bit of tinning in the wire. Fin grip. Like so. Hopefully that's it. There we go. So we've now got to pick up from the tender going into the locomotive. Now to fix the front pony. The front pony is held in by removing this screw. There's a pillar underneath, and the pony has got a receptacle in there, and I just simply undo this, remove the screw. I need to just put a little bit of slack onto this screw as well, so that the whole base plate can be lifted up without too much pressure, and making sure I get this the correct way. That way this comes up, and just a little bit more here, this comes up. The loop should just sit in there, don't even lift up too much. There we go, and slide it in. I'll just probably embed in there. There we are, that's it. Now I can return the screw, and that should be us. Come on, in it goes. There we go, not forgetting to put tension back in this screw again. There we are. So it's coming together, I think the next thing to do is put it on the track, because it's too many wheels for my rolling road at the moment. Plus I want to see it going. This, as they say, is as close to the moment of truth as we're going to get. Before I start it off, I have to remember to include the weight. It doesn't run very well without the weight. Obviously, to aid the traction tyres, this should just sit in there. Oops, sorry, it should just sit in there. And now I'm going to apply power, and we should see it go. There we go. Aha! Well, am I pleased to see that. A couple of years I've waited for that. Trying to find the correct donors and the rebuild. Oh, I'm happy with this. I'm happy with this. So, I do have one other thing to attend to. That is that the paintwork on the tender could probably be needing a bit of attention. I think someone tried to clean it. And I'll just bring it round and let you see what I mean. If you look at paintwork in the tender, it's kind of patchy, as if someone tried to clean it. The decals aren't too good, but I'm going to do that later on. I've got some decals for the tender side, but I need those orange stripes, and I need the correct colour of green paint. So I'm just going to do that later on at my leisure. At the moment I'm just happy to have my 9F, which is going to become an evening star. And that's going to give me a bit of a dilemma, because I've got another evening star here. So do I invent another evening star, maybe change the number? Or do I keep two evening stars, perhaps turn one into a BCC and keep the other for BC running? I'll think about that. So anyway, this is the one that's caused me a lot of problems, and she is running beautifully. So let's bring her around, we'll get a stop, get the body shell on, and then let it run in for a while with maybe a nice rake of wagons. I'm very pleased the way that's turned out, considering this started off as a bag of bits. I found a donor machine that had those bits and a working motor, and by carefully selecting the correct parts, I've managed to put the two machines together to create a nice working evening star. I like the evening star, it's a nice sort of machine, aesthetically nice to watch, because there aren't too many 210s around. I don't remember ever seeing one when I was young, and I don't know if I'll ever see one again, so I like this. I hope you like that restoration, whatever you want to call it. I certainly get a lot of satisfaction now because I've now got job number 01. I can tick it off and put it to bed. I'm going to leave it there and just let it run round a while. If you like that, hopefully if you haven't already done so, you can subscribe. Certainly I'll appreciate any comments you have, especially favourable ones. If you're clicking the thumbs up, that'd be nice too. If you want to click on the thumbs down, perhaps you'd be gracious enough to let me know why. So until then, just keep safe, keep happy, and keep watching YouTube. So, bye for now.